Okay, so again, we're in Rishikesh. I finished my yoga teacher training. Kristine is doing her own now. And this is week number 2, I guess, of the lockdown. We're going to be locked down for another 3 weeks. So far we've been locked down for 1 week. And I find it really interesting that we came to India, everybody came international, like everybody is international here. And we came to India to study yoga and to go back home after. And here we are locked very far from home, but the synergy in the group is so nice, and we're creating workshops, we're creating courses almost every day, coming from the students themselves. So it's kind of like it's nice because it's something that lacks in society. Everybody's rushing to go to work, and then everybody goes home or goes to the gym, and then they go home and they watch maybe some Netflix, and then they go to bed. And here it's not the same. We're really like cornered in a way because we're all together. We're like a bunch of people together. We can't get out of school. We can't go out, and the internet is a little bit limited in India, and we're forced kind of to coexist and to live with what we have and create whatever we can create to keep ourselves entertained, and it's working so well. I love it. But as you were saying, like we live in
So this is like unprecedented times. Like we've never not in my lifetime, and not for a wee while, not in my parents' lifetime, been in a situation where we are, as a global community, locked down, essentially. And I think the cool thing about being here and why we're so lucky is even though we're all from different backgrounds, we're all different nationalities and belief systems, but we do have like a commonality in yoga, which is, it's a spiritual practice, and some of us are more spiritual than others. I come at it from more of like a physical point of view, but I think we all have like an underlying common interest here, so it enables us to kind of feed off each other, and we are creating this really amazing energy and synergy in this random community that we're forced to create, essentially. But like you were saying before, we're super lucky because most people are locked in their apartments. When I think about people in Europe or like New York City, for example, small apartments, can't go outside.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that, yeah.
Whereas we have this essentially a small complex where we have our own bedrooms, and then we have, we don't eat together anymore in the dining hall, but we still kind of commune in pockets of the building. And then we have the rooftop where we have an amazing view, and we're able to practice and teach each other different things because, we're all we've all got different interests and backgrounds that we can add to the community, and it's really nice, and we are really, really lucky. But yes, there is a level or an element of scariness in that, there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknown, but it's so out of our control. And for me personally, I'm just trying to not think too much about the future and just try to be a little bit more present and appreciate what we do have, because sometimes it can be a struggle because it is hard.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't have enough food, for example, like we don't have we have rice and potatoes all the time, but then we don't know if we're gonna have something else sometimes. And
but then I guess, like compared to other people in India who are fighting for food and don't have anything, we're actually really, really lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to not think about the future and what's going to happen when we leave, if we can leave, when that will be,
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like I'm trying really hard not to think about it too much until it comes a time where it's, where it becomes a diabolical situation and we can't continue on the way that we are, which hopefully I won't get to that, but I've still got a couple of weeks left on my course, thank goodness, so that's keeping me busy. and then once that is over, we're supposed to be coming out of lockdown. So yeah, it's all so unknown, and we're just kind of like waiting for the next bit of information. And but I think everyone here is doing like a really good job of just trying to ride the wave.
Yeah, I feel like what I also, like an observation that I had lately is that when I'm at home, I'm in my own bubble, and I think that like my own universe is like everything to me, and I have to do this and that, and this is important, and that is, I need to do this in my life, and so on. And here I can't do this because because we're dealing with the unknown, and we're dealing with what it is. There's coronavirus everywhere, and we're cornered. We have to focus on every single day what we're doing here, and we're limited by our options.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem, it's, to me, I don't feel worse. Like, I don't feel like I need to work on the things that I thought that I had in mind, and I need to do this in my life and that in my life. It doesn't. This year is bringing me enough happiness that in my head I feel like everything is so relative.
Yeah.
Nothing is necessarily true.
I think like the other thing is I mean, we're all really busy, and we've got our own lives, and everything's always go, and now we're forced to have this like standstill. And I think it's something, and I think a lot of people agree, is that the world really needs it. And it's strange, and it's you know, an unusual way of making us stop and, you know, stand still. But I think it is really what, you know, the environment needs, and us as like the human race needs as well, to gain a little bit more perspective on what the fuck we're doing. Like, you know, we're constantly, you know, we're all so selfish. Like,
yes.
Let's be honest. Like, even people who are not, you know, they're not instinctively selfish. Like, we're all selfish. Like, you know, we're all just considering ourselves and what we're doing, and like, you know, our own little bubble, and there'll be a few people in the bubble, and, you know, we're using plastic left, right, and center, and, you know, there's just not enough consideration for the impact that our actions have on like the earth.
Yeah.
And so this is something that the world needs in terms of like nature, but then also us as people, like we've never been this busy before, you know, whether it's you know, whether we're working or whether we're whatever it is that we're doing, social media, and there's so much like flooding in all the time, so much new information, so much. And, you know, it's not like, you know, our grandparents' day where they didn't even have a phone. If you wanted to talk to someone, you had to go to their house and talk to them, or whatever it is, you know. And
we're not necessarily happier than they were.
No, not at all.
And everybody's doing whatever they're doing to become happier or to fulfill something. And if we think of 100 years ago, or whatever, before technology was that big, or before all the rush and the stress that's happening now in life, we're doing everything that we're doing to, like, the human being does what he or she does to be more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Are we though getting more fulfilled?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
I think we're just like overcomplicating everything. So I just feel like, you know, we're complicating things with, you know, all of these different fad diets, and like, you know, always trying to get a better job, trying to get a better house, trying to get you know, we're always striving for the next thing, the next step, like where are we going?
Exactly. And all of these influencers on YouTube, like the 7 secrets to...
So much bullshit, and it's all like flooding in from all corners. Like, there's just no escaping all of that influence that's out there. And not saying that we no longer have that, because now that we're kind of locked down, it's almost more so that we're getting, you know, reliant on technology because we want to stay connected. But actually, there is a higher level of connectivity now, because it's not so much, well, this is just me thinking out loud, is that, because we're so desperate for connection, because we're so isolated, we're making more of an effort to use, social media for social purposes as opposed to just using it for, scrolling through booty posts. That's what I do all day. So I think it's like, it's a massive reality check. And just time for us to reevaluate what's actually important in life, who is important in our lives, and what the fuck are we all doing?
Yes, exactly. To reassess our reality and.
Yeah, because it's like a movie. I'm waiting for Will Smith to come out and with his dog and save us all, but.
But in this movie, we are the ones who will save. If we take responsibility, I feel like we are the ones who will have to save ourselves, because this is another thing, is that everybody also sometimes we think for a government or somebody to take an action and to change everything, and I believe that for sure people in high that have the power and the authority to do something, for sure we need them, but
there is a responsibility that's bestowed upon them, but we are responsible too.
Exactly. It's the addition of the masses. It's the addition of each individual that will really do have an impact. And as you were saying, if we take this wake up call, maybe this pandemic, as an opportunity to really calm down and to fucking relax and know and evaluate honestly what we are doing and what can we tweak, what can we eliminate, how can we reconnect with ourselves, how can we find a joy within us that we have forgotten about, how can we remember how to be ourselves and happy with because I think that this is a remembering in the sense that it's in us, but we have forgotten.
I think that's a really good point, in terms of connecting with ourselves, because how do you even do that? I've been told many a time that I need to make myself happy before I can make someone else happy, and all of that cliche, all that cliche bullshit. But it's it's so hard to to shut off from things that might be toxic in our lives, or to distance ourselves from people that might not be good for us, or that there's all this. It's so hard to just actually stop and reflect within yourself for a longer period of time, and enough to really work on yourself, because you're just surrounded by people all the time, and it's not natural for us to just shut ourselves in our room and just be like, this is me time, I'm working on me, I'm doing, it's so difficult. But now we're actually being forced to do it, and it's okay, this is the time now where I can actually reflect on myself, and I have time to do it, because there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse now.
Yes, we're cornered.
Yeah, whereas, other times I'm I'm totally working on myself, but I've got to go to this lunch, and I've got to go do this and that, and all these other things, and then, I meditated for 10 minutes last night, or a week ago, and that was me time. But now we're actually, we're really cornered, and it's hard, it's really fucking hard, but it's also a good thing.
Yeah, but everything... things that are hard are sometimes good for us.
Yeah. Well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Yeah.
And unless you got coronavirus, the chances are that you will live through this. Mm-hmm.
So what do you did you have any just like that, any observation that came to mind as you were here? Or?
In terms of when I first got here?
And, with this pandemic and that we're kind of stuck, or anything, or how the group is forming, or...
Yeah, the group's forming really nicely. When I first arrived, I actually arrived ahead of schedule because of the virus, because India was closing its borders. And so I was like, shit, gotta get here if I want to, do this. And so I knew there was going to be an element of stuckness, but I didn't realize it was going to be quite like this. And because I arrived before everyone else did, I was kind of coming into your group, and I was everyone's formed their little bonds, and and that's why it's a hard situation. But I was actually just really grateful that I was here, and able to be in a position where I could start, the course, and I feel like as time is going on, our groups are like merging, and there's a lot of bonding going on, and yeah, it's really nice, and everyone's so different, but not.
We're very much fundamentally the same, but
Yeah.
everybody has a different personality.
Yeah, but I don't feel like, I mean, for sure, I'm like, oh, this person's annoying, or, or this
Yeah.
person's amazing, or whatever. You always have judgments, in the first instance. Well, I do. I'm judgmental. What can I say?
Yeah.
But then, as time goes on, you it like all kind of mellows out, and everyone is just playing their little role. It's not like a hard and fast, like this is your role and that's yours or anything, but
Or maybe their
everyone's everyone's just kind of coming. What's that? Everyone's just kind of coming into their own space within this space.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. Yeah. And it's really interesting to me because if we think about it, this is almost like an art or a skill that we have forgotten, like how to become to, because when people get together, they get together either to eat together, for example, or to party together, or to work together.
Yeah.
And everything is set, like everybody is boxed somewhere. If you have a job, this is your job, and that's what you do, and you report to this person and this person. If you have lunch with friends, everybody talks about, their careers or whatever. So everything is structured. Here, nothing is structured, and that's beautiful because it allows the human being to learn again how to be with other human beings. And as you were saying, so if we, to me, like if we extrapolate this even more, it makes me feel like, how can the human being connect with another human being deeper, in the sense that we could maybe
finesse this.
Yeah. And it makes me think, like maybe I'm going too far, but it makes me think a little bit of telepathy and connecting without putting limits and borders to ourselves. Like this one is this, and this body is the manager of this company, and this one is an employee, and so there's no identifications, there's no bonding, there's no labels.
Yeah.
So we're flowing together, and that's beautiful. Like
it's funny because I don't really know what anyone does for a living. Like,
I don't really know. I don't know if
I know,
maybe some of them,
I know
but
a couple of people, like, oh yeah, they did this or that, and then, but all in all, like, I don't really know what people do outside of this place. And also, like,
I don't doing things together, and we're happy together, and
I don't I don't really know how old everyone is either. We're just all kind of like in this space of we're just human,
It's morphing.
Yeah, we're just people in this space, and it's really cool. It's nice, and it's actually refreshing to be able to be part of something like this.
It's refreshing, and it keeps everything open, because we're not like we said before. We're not limited by a career or by social rules, and to me, this is de-stressing me.
Yeah, totally. Obviously people back home and like friends and family calling and messaging, being like, oh, how's it? Like, I've seen the situation's really bad in India, this and this and that, and I'm like, yeah, like it's actually really nice here, and we're just kind of going with the flow, and like my mom was just like, oh, I don't know if you should leave immediately, like when the borders open, because then people might start rioting or looting, and you might get mugged, and all this kind of, like, I'm just like, all this, my mom's the kind of person that always brings up like all these problems, and I'm like, I don't actually need you to bring me problems so that I can, like, so that I can fester on them. I don't need to think about that stuff, because that's like over there.
It's so far from where we are now.
I'll deal with that when we get there.
Yeah.
Like, let's just deal with this situation here, and that's kind of what this is forcing us to do, is just focus on the situation at hand, because we have no fucking idea what's happening. Like, in a week from now, everything could change. And that's the thing about the situation, is that it is changing daily.
It is.
It's like, 1 minute we're allowed to go out and get groceries in the morning, the next minute we'll be arrested, and if we, you know, step foot outside this place, and I'm like, oh, all these things, and like the embassies are, you know,
changing their rules every
Yeah,
day, and
everything.
the police departments, we don't know. Like some people are trying to get to the airport, and they're bringing them back to the school because now today it's the embassy that has to send the paper instead of the medical department in a hospital or yeah. So in a way, like we're also learning how to deal with uncertainty and to probably develop our faith and like surrendering.
yeah,
This has been something that's important to me, to learn how to surrender to what is, and surrender ideally to the. I like to believe in a higher force like God or something like that, and I'm working on that. But yeah, to surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess that's all we really can do. Like, we do have to surrender ourselves to, well, yeah, like for me, I believe in like God, like Christianity, Jesus. So, you know, for me it's like surrendering myself to them and well, to God, and realizing that He will
Take care of the things the way it has to be. Yeah.
You know, and here it's like, it's also interesting like being here and learning about a different level of like different kind of spirituality, and you know, the different belief systems, and I'm like, oh yeah, that totally all makes sense. And yeah, but surrender is it's like, that's a good word, I think, in terms of like our next action.
Yeah.
You know, or the only action we really can take is to surrender and really just hope for the best. And yeah.
And we're taking it day by day. But yeah, we're having a good time. We're stressed too because, like we both said, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. But all in all, I
like
feel
a
we're learning
weird piece.
Yeah, it's a weird piece. Yeah, we're learning a lot of things that aren't cognitive. Learning how to be, learning how to surrender to the unknown, which is very much what life is about. Because if everything is like, life isn't supposed to be too structured anyway. If we look at nature and if we look at everything, the animal kingdom, the galaxies, everything, nothing is mentally structured. Like the human being has taken the mental stuff too far.
Yeah, we're just like really overdoing it. Like, I think with, you know, the world, like the galaxy, animals, plants, whatever, like they all have their place. And it's like for humans, it's like we're trying to force an evolution upon ourselves.
That is made by something. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
But it's unnatural. It's not. We're not evolving because we need to. You know, it's not like an environmental situation where we're needing to climatize to a situation. We're forcing this like weird technological evolution when really we just need to strip it right back.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's what we're doing right now. We're taking it back.
Yeah, we're taking it back, and we're stuck behind our doors while animals are looking at us right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Monkeys.
There was like I saw a meme, and I was thinking, this is exactly how I feel, because we're in the classroom and the monkeys are doing this on the window, and I'm like, we're the monkeys now.
Yes, we are.
Because the monkeys are out here just chilling, doing their thing.
And this is what we get. This is what I feel like the law of cause and effect is playing the game. It's game right now, where we are imprisoned and we're forced to look at reality the way it is instead of intellectualizing how it should be.
This is humanity's
Because what does the mind know?
This is humanity's karma.
Yeah, it is humanity's karma. Yeah.
We fucked up things so much that karma's coming back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll learn something. I think that here we're learning. It's important to keep it this way when everything will come back to normal. I'm really curious to see how things will fall, how things will evolve after all of this pandemic. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be an intense situation because, you know, economically the world is
fucked.
Yeah, basically, because everyone's out of jobs.
Yeah.
You know, minimized
But even
hours.
I feel like the monetary system has to change. It doesn't make sense anymore. The monetary system the way it is. It's not made for 7 billion people like that. It won't work like this. Something new has to happen.
There needs to be a new norm created, and I think
Yeah.
hopefully that's what will happen.
Yeah. That was that was good. That was great.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody.